Okay, so now we are going to see the partitioning topic. So what is the purpose of learning this partitioning? We have a hard disk, we have a partition already there, and that space is full or about to full. We need to create one more partition. If free space is available on my hard disk, if my existing partition is full and I have to store more data. So what is the solution? We have to create a new partition. So how we will create a new partition? If we have a space available on the hard disk, then we will use and create. If no free space is available on the hard disk, then we will purchase a new hard disk and then we'll create partition and start storing data on that. Okay. So here, to attach any hard disk, okay, I'm not talking about external hard disk, internal hard disk. If you want to attach, then your machine should be shut down. Understood? Now, so here same applies on virtual machine also. So machine should be shut down. Then we'll click on settings. Select your virtual machine where you want to attach hard disk and then click on settings. Next, after this we have a storage. Click on storage. When you click on storage, here you can see there are two type of connector. Controller means here connector, IDE, SATA. Okay, so if you see it physically, then IDE cable. So this was the IDE cable and connection very long back we were using. Okay, 38 pin was there, 38 or 39 pin was there. Okay, 40 it writes, but one pin was missing there just to finalize the direction. So like this type of cable we were using very long back. Another is called SATA connection. So SATA looks like this one you see, just like a USB type, no pin system. Okay, so nowadays we have this SATA type of thing, and again this SSD, now cable system is also removed, but in server still we are using this type of cable system. So this is SATA. So based on that we have to select here our controller is ID or SATA. Okay, so here we are going to select SATA. Okay, because here is the our hard disk Linux VDI, virtual disk image. Click on add hard disk. This is optical drive. Optical drive means CD, DVD. So here we are going to add hard disk. Here we'll click on create. What will create? Virtual hard disk. Okay, then next, then next. I think I have taken 20 GB, which it should not be. Let me remove it. Add. Okay, create virtual hard disk. Next, next. Here it is showing 20 GB. I will not take 20 GB. I will take only 10 GB because it will take a space from my D drive. Then finish. This one I want to attach. Double click. It's attached. Linux underscore 2VHD. I want to add one more hard disk. Create virtual hard disk. Next, next. Give the size. We can give more, that's not a problem, but why we are not giving more? That much space should be there on the drive, then only we can. So now you can see this is the main or primary hard disk in which we have the operating system, root partition and all. These are the two extra hard disks I have attached of 10 GB. Here you see we have CD DVD attached. So I want to remove the disk. Why I want to remove the disk? Because if I don't remove and start my Linux, it will boot with the CD DVD and installation process will start. Okay, that's why. Now just click OK and start. So any confusion in adding hard disk in virtual machine? After this partitioning, the next topic which we will start, that will be networking. And once the networking starts, means you have to think that your 70% or 75% course is already completed. So from my side, I am only completing the course. From your side, you have to revise and tell me that where you are facing the problem. Okay. Else one day you will come to know that today is the last day like that. After that, you will have only one solution. If you have any issue, repeat in another batch. So better prior to that, revise your all the topics where you are facing problem, which topic is not clear for you. Note those all topics and then discuss with me. If required, I will arrange one session on the same day or maybe on Saturday for 2 hours only for your doubt clearance or repeating any type of topic like that. Okay. So based on the requirement, these things can be done. Activities. Hmm. Now we'll go in activities terminal. I want to see the hard disk information. Hard disk information means what is the name of the hard disk, how much is the size, how many partitions are created. We have command f disk minus l. Okay. So when we use this command f disk minus l, we can see it gives the output. The disk name is dev sda. Dev means device, SDA because we have used SATA, S for SATA. Size is 20 GB, the primary hard disk. How many partition is created? Two partition is created. One the Linux boot partition, another is the LVM partition. Another hard disk which we have attached, that name is SDB. First one is SDA, second one is SDB, and the size of it is 10 GB. Similarly, the third hard disk is SDC and the size is 10 GB. Clear? How we can check the name, size and the number of partitions. So here if you see, we don't have any partition in B and C. Correct? Any doubt? Now, to do this partitioning, we will start partitioning on this one because here you see we don't have any free space. How you will know that there is a no free space here on this hard disk? You see here it shows you the sector information. Okay. So the sector is 419443. It is 3984. Okay. So it is almost completed. Now, sorry, here 41, 94, 43, 0, 39. You see, and this sector is completed or not? See this value, sector start and end, and here is the total number of sector. Understood? Or in other words, 1 GB, 19 GB. How much? 18 GB. Huh? 1 and 19 is how much? 20 or 18? And here is the total size. Do we have free space on this hard disk? So two method is there. One based on the size, another based on the sector. You see, this is the total sector 41, 94, 30, 40, and the last sector which is used is 41, 94, 30, 39. So it's also completed. So both the options there. Here we don't have any partition. So now we are going to do the partition. We have the command fdisk device sdb. I am taking second hard disk where I am going to do the partitioning. So when you purchase any hard disk, you cannot store data without doing any partition. So you have to do partition, then only you can store the data. When you hit enter, it will come like this. P. P to print the partition table. No partition is there. N for new. I want to create new partition, so I will press N. N for new. P for primary. So when we create partition, we have two type of partitioning. Primary, extended. Primary partition means where we can install operating system plus we can store data also. Like in Windows we have our C drive, that is a primary partition. Linux, root partitions. So partition where we can store system files and user data both, that is primary partition. Okay. Extended partition. So extended partition, we cannot store any type of data, we cannot install operating system in that, so that is extended partition. Okay. So extended partition is like a container. So inside extended partition, we have to create logical volumes, and then in the logical volume we can store the data. Got the point? So inside extended partition, we cannot store the data. We have to create logical volumes. It is like a container. We have to create logical volumes, and inside the logical volume, we can store the data. Done? Okay. So in logical volume or logical partition, we can store only user data. We cannot install operating system. Clear this point? So here it's up to you. You can create logical volumes, you can create primary partition. So let us go with the primary. So we have to type P. If you don't want to type, by default it is selected P. Just hit enter, that is enough. Now it is showing partition number. By default it will start from 1. So just hit enter, enough. You want to give another number, you can give. Start sector. So here is this is a problem. It's not a problem. Just in Linux, you have to define from where to where you are going to give the partition. Okay. So sector number. So on the hard disk, there are sector, track. Okay. So these all things are there on the hard disk. So when you read hard disk in depth, you will come to know. And then there are some blocks. We store the data and all. So here we have to give from which sector to which sector you want to create one partition. So if you don't understand about the sector calculation, simple hit enter. Why simply hit enter? Because it will start from the sector where we can take. So starting is okay. Now what about end? I have to create 5 GB of partition. So how much sector will be there? So we don't know the calculation. So it gives us a solution plus 5G means 5 GB. Means from where you have started, I want 5 GB. So that's why plus 5 GB. Clear? Hit enter. So you see, created a partition 1 of type line X and of size 5 GB. So do you think partitioning is tough? Easier than ABCD, correct? ABCD was also not easy when you started learning that. Similarly, so once you learn, it becomes easy. So automatically it will select the range, okay, of the sector from where to, sorry, what we have defined, sector from where to where will be the 5 GB. Now when you print with the P partition table, you can see how much sector it has taken. Starting is 2048 and end is on 10487807. So this calculation it does automatically. Is it clear till here? So what you have done, you have created a partition, you have seen the partition table. After that, what you are waiting for? Nothing. So you'll exit. W to save and exit. So you have to remember only N, P, W and D. These are the 4 commands I have mentioned in the notepad that I will share you. N to create new partition, W for save and exit, D for delete the partition, and P for print the partition table. So these 4 letters are enough. But if you have curiosity that what are other letters used for, press M, it will give you the full list. Which letter for what purpose. But more you go in depth, more confusion will create. More you should go, but first you should practice with the fewer keystrokes. Okay, so now we have created a partition, and as you know, without formatting you cannot store the data. So partition means what? Just you have given a wall in the room. So when you do a wall, can you store the data? Your things inside the room. You need formatting, means cupboard and all you are going to create. So similarly, it happens here also. That is formatting. To format, first you have to inform whom, the boss, part probe slash dev slash sdb. Who is the boss? Kernel, head of all the hardwares. That there is a change in this hardware. You have to update it to kernel. Without updating, if you are going to uh, format it, that command will not work. Okay, so you can try without updating, you'll see the error. So how we can update to the kernel? One process is reboot your machine or use this command part 4. Update kernel about changes in partition table or the hard disk. Now to do the formatting, we have command mkfs make file system type. In Windows we have FAT32, okay, NTFS. Nowadays we have VFAT also. In Linux, the file system is ext2, ext3, ext4, and nowadays we are using XFS. Okay, so you can use any file system to format it. So let us go with ext4, or if you want XFS also you can use. Okay, because when you are going to format your pen drive, you will get the option NTFS, FAT32, what you want to use. Similarly. Then the partition name you want to format. So partition name is SDB1. You see here the partition name it is showing. This is what partition name. SDB is the hard disk name. SDB1 is the partition name. Okay. Now hit enter. Done. You see, it will write also. Creating file system with this 4K block, inodes are going to be defined, UUID, okay, allocating group table, writing inode table, creating journals, writing super block, file accounting information. So this is what? Formatting. So now your partition is ready to store the data. But you know in Linux there is a one dependency. If you want to access any partition, any pen drive, CD drive, what you have to do? Mounting. Without mounting you cannot. So let us mount temporary first. Mount slash Dave slash SDB1 on MNT. Mounting done. If you want to mount on any other folder, create a folder and mount it. Understood? Now we have command mount. So if you use mount to see the mount point, which device is mounted where, you will get output like this. So in the last you can see that SDB1 on MNT it is mounted, file system is ext4 in read write mode. But I want to get only exact information. Piping grep slash dev slash SDB1. Like how we have done for SR0, our CD DVD. Only for this I want to see where it is mounted. Like this you can use here also. Clear? Any confusion or full of confusion? Okay. Mm, if you want to see the size of your partition, how much is used, how much is free, you see. DF, disk free. Okay. I want to store some data. So the data is in MNT folder and stored on that partition. How it can, we can prove it? Unmount means detach your partition. Detached. If you check, it's not attached. Not attached anywhere. If you go in MNT, where is the file? Just now you have created na inside MNT. Where is that? This is called magic. So mounting means what? I am just mapping. Okay, via. So there is a partition I cannot access directly. I am accessing that partition via MNT folder. So I put data in MNT and where it goes? In that partition. And I have disconnected the attachment mounting. So if I open folder, will I be able to see that partition? No. That's why we are not able to. But again, when I am going to mount it, and then you go inside and put ls, file is there. So it proves that the file was stored on partition. And using the mounting, we are just taking help of this folder to access data of that partition and store data in that partition. Clear? Any confusion or full of confusion? If you have, you have to speak up. No other way. So this is how we can do the partition. Now I want to detach it because partitions are not temporary mounted. Whatever we have done, that is temporary mounting. If you don't detach also, after reboot it will get detached. So for permanent mounting, what is the solution? So if you remember in Linux boot process I have taught you, there is a file etcfs tab. There we have to do the entry. So at the time of booting, our init programs are going to in similar way, whatever is mentioned there. So for that I have to create one folder. Suppose I have created one folder data, and I have to do permanent mounting. So vis space slash etc slash fs tab. So this is the file name. Okay. We have to go inside it, come down a small o, it will give one line and insert mode if you remember the vi editor commands. Here we have to write dev slash sdb1 where to mount on data folder permanently. The file system is ext4 defaults 0 space 0. Understood the entry? What I've done? This is the partition. Want to mount on the data folder. File system is ext4 and it will be the default mount point. Colon wq. Save and exit. If you do mistake here, then how you will identify? Mount minus a. When you are going to activate, you will get the error. If there is a error in entering in this file. So this is permanent. Now, if you check the mount point, where it is mounted? On data folder. You can see here sdb1 on data. So in data folder we have not created any files, right? cd slash data. You see, means this folder are just a source to access that partition. Data is actually stored in the partition, not in this folder. Clear? Any confusion? Hmm? So this is the permanent mounting. So if you reboot also, that is not going to affect. How to prove this? In this, I have taught you this line. Read it. And mount all partitions listed in etcfs tab. When? During the boot. So now it's mounted, and when your system is going to reboot, based on that, again it will remount it. But when you do temporary mounting, means no entry here, only with the mount command, then that information is not listed here. So when your system is going to reboot, that will not get mapped. Okay. So if you want to mount permanently, you have to do entry in fs tab file. Clear? Temporary, then the question is what type of things we mount temporary? We mount temporary our CD DVD, our pen drive, our share folders. These all things we do temporary mounting, and we access it. Then we give unmounted. Okay. Hmm? Done. Now, okay, I want to unmount it. Permanent mounting I want to remove. Then the solution is uh, you have to go in first via etcfs tab, delete that line dd 7 exit, mount space minus a, activate it and verify whether it is mounted. You see, we have removed the entry now, but manually we have to unmount also and cross verify. Now it's not mounted. Permanent mounting, you do entry mount A is enough. But permanent mounting, if you want to remove, first you have to remove from file, then activate the mount points, and then using umount command you have to remove the mappings. Okay, clear till here? Now we are going to delete this partition. So for that, what we are going to do? Fdisk slash dev slash sdb. We will go in the hard disk. D2 delete, deleted. It didn't ask anything. Why? Because there was only one partition. If there is a more than one, then it will ask which partition number. W2 7 exit and part probe to update the kernel. Clear? Now, for your help, we have done the same. You see, shut down your Linux machine, add virtual hard disk, start Linux machine, list with fdisk minus L, create partition using these steps: P to print, N to new partition, P to print the primary, 1 select partition number, start block simply enter, to add plus 3G, P to print partition table, W to 7 exit, part probe to update kernel about changes, to format ext3, ext4, whatever you want, to mount a newly partition. I have created a folder, I have mounted. To verify, this is the way, or you can add the data. To delete any partition, what is the procedure? To permanent mounting, what is the procedure? Clear? And rest all apart from this, you have your recordings using which you can take the help and you can work on it. So 8 a.m. drive. Where is that? Managing partitions. Okay. Okay. Next class will be on Wednesday and we will cover LVM and ACL. So now you get a gap of 1 day tomorrow. Actually, there are some medical problems. That's why I am traveling early morning. Okay, so I'll not be tomorrow. Day after tomorrow, we'll have it, classes. Okay, as usual.